Hey, Royals, welcome into Royals Talk here. First one of the summer series. The students have gone home, but we want to make sure we're keeping in touch with them while they're away on summer break. And what a better time to bring in Sophia Moritz, a freshman out of Virginia Beach. Just had a pretty eventful week last week, and we're going to talk to her about that. First, Sophia, welcome in. Thanks for taking some time to join us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, so hey, kind of a whirlwind week last week. I mean, not only were you finishing up your classes, but you were in South Carolina with the NCCAA National Championships. You and Thomas Slingluff and KJ Cropper made the trip to Columbia. I mean, first talk about that opportunity to get to go there. And you've only been here about 5-6 months. You were a transfer in January, but talk about that experience.
Yeah, so I'm really grateful that I was able to just get all the marks that I needed to be able to go to nationals. Obviously, that was a goal I had my eyes set on this season. It was just a really fun time spending just a few days with the team and getting to see all of our hard work pay off, really. But, it was just a really great experience. It was really fun.
You know, I mentioned you were a transfer. Kind of an interesting situation. You came in, they had kind of started indoor already. And talk about, how did you find Regent? I know you're from the area and you'd gone away to school and you came back, but talk about your journey to becoming a part of Regent.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting experience. Obviously, I came in right towards the tail end of their indoor season. So I was home on my winter break from my other school, and I decided I just wasn't really seeing it fit to go back. So I actually talked to my high school track coach, and he knew Coach Rose and was like, Sophie, I think you would love this team. It would be a great program for you academically. They have a great team athletically. And he got me in contact with Coach Rose that night. And then that was Friday. And by Monday, I was out there practicing with you guys.
And how is it? I mean, I know you ran at Kellum, and your event here, which, we'll talk about a little bit more, is the hurdles. Mm-hmm. Did you do that at Kellum? And was that something you thought you would continue to do, or is it just something you were doing in high school?
Yeah. So when I first joined track, it wasn't really anything that was like my main focus. I was doing cheer at the time. But once I started doing it, I really fell in love with it, especially the 300 hurdles was my event in high school. Obviously, it's a little different in college. But, yeah, I just really fell in love with the sport. And I wasn't really ready to be done with it. But I felt like that was my timeline of, this is your last season, you're done. There's not really an option past high school.
All right, well, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. You've set some school records this year, running in these events, and you qualify, you get to Columbia. You qualified for the 400, but you ended up running both the 100 and the 400.
Yeah.
Interesting thing happened in the 100 that people might not know. You guys on, what was it, Thursday, you were scheduled to run in your heat one in your preliminaries.
Yeah.
They started you guys, but the clock didn't start. Talk about that, because you ran a pretty good race. In that, we don't know what your time was because of it, but how is that? You get through the race, then they almost made you rerun it right after. So
yeah, that was definitely like a roller coaster of emotions in that time. I thought that was it. Like, we locked in, all the girls and I were ready. It felt like a really good race. There's a lot of really good competition. So I was really excited. I crossed the finish line and I turned around to see my time. And then just to see it say 0-0, I was like, oh no, because we heard a second gun go off, but that doesn't really happen all the time, especially like when they do go off. Usually it's like right at the start to indicate like a false start, but this was like 3 hurdles in, so we were already like a good bit into the race. So it definitely came as a shock when we all crossed the finish line, did our entire race, and saw there was no time. And then they told us we were going to be racing right after the 3rd heat, and that gave us only like 2 heats until we had to run again. And we were like, that seems like a really big disadvantage for us since we just put all of our energy out there. But luckily, they told us everyone from my heat was moving on to finals, and they would just rerun us tomorrow. So it was a really interesting experience. Definitely haven't had anything like that before, but ended up working out, so it's all right.
Yeah, it worked out, and you ended up getting a school record in your finals the next day. But then you had to rest up. You didn't have a lot of time, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it was on to the 400, which you had run very well this year. Been at the top 2 in times. And, talk about that. became an All-American in that. But you talk about that race, and one of the funny things we saw. I know you hit a hurdle, and talk about that too, because you really had to recover, and you're able to set a school record and get second place national.
Yeah. So the 400 hurdles is just my favorite event. Like, all the other ones are really fun, but that one is the one that like I take the most seriously. It's the one I look forward to the most. So like you said, there's a quick turnaround from the 100 hurdles to the 400. So I just use that time to rest up and just get mentally ready to do my next race. And like you were mentioning, I was coming out of my blocks and everything. The first 2 hurdles were a little funky. I was trying to adjust it on the third, ended up clipping a hurdle pretty bad. I was like horizontal with the track, so I should have face planted, but I was able to like rebalance myself and still finish a strong race. But that was definitely the most painful race effort wise. I had to put everything in just to kind of make up for all the energy lost from that one hurdle. But despite that, I was able to come out as second place, which I'm really grateful for. And like the girls I was racing against, it was really good competition. So all of us were just pushing each other. So first place, second place, and third place, we all PR'd like by a lot.
You think about 5-6 months ago when you came to Regent. I mean, did you even think this was a possibility that you would hit these school records and become an All-American in your first go around out there against some really good competition? I mean, the runner who got first place had been number 1 all year. You were right on her tail, and it fitting. If you watch the video, both of you were just neck and neck as you're going down to the finish line. But as you reflect back on it, I mean, is it something you thought would even happen?
I mean, this season as a whole has just been like a really pleasant surprise, like a great blessing in my life. So if you talk to me like right before the spring semester, I would have never guessed any of this would play out the way it did. But, I'm a very competitive person. I put a lot of pressure on myself very early on. Like, I think one of my first nights of practice, I was like, Mom, I'm going to qualify for nationals. I'm going to do it. And I'm not just going to go, but I'm going to be a competitor in it. I want to be in the game. And just put a lot of work. Obviously, it didn't just happen. My coaches really pushed me a lot. And there was a lot of players that went into where I ended up last week.
You talk about coaches. Talk about Coach Rose a little bit. I had the pleasure of being able to be down there with you guys and watching Coach. And I've been to pretty much every meet I can get to this year, and his interaction with you guys. But there's one moment I remember. We were watching KJ finish up the triple jump. You were getting ready. You came over. You talked to Coach, and he said, "Is there anything else you need?" And you said, I'm excited. I'm nervous, but it's good nervous energy. Will you just pray with me? And, we talk about being a Regent student athlete, but that moment right there where you just kind of leaned on your coach with your faith and that's what you needed from him at that moment, was just to pray with you. But talk about the impact he's had on you and the impact he had on you this past week.
Yeah. Obviously Coach Rose is an amazing coach. He's really there for all of us. He shows up for us. But he knows better than like anyone. Right before that race, it's just my nerves are at an all-time high. And it was actually at the Towson meet that I was really freaking out right before it. And he's like, just giving me a little reminder. He was like, you don't have to do it. You can let the Holy Spirit do it through you. And knowing that it wasn't all on me really lifted a lot of the burden and the stress that I was carrying. And that was one of my best races. I ended up getting one of my biggest PRs then. And like just having that peace of mind from him, knowing that like there's only so much I can do and then God will take me the rest of the way. So in that moment, I was able to just kind of stop, breathe, and just pray and focus on what I can control, because obviously there's only so much I can do. So having that really just is really reassuring. And I don't know, he's a very supportive coach, not just athletically, but make sure we're all doing well academically, spiritually. So having that dynamic where he fosters all these things in our life, it really creates a good like balance.
That's great. All right. So summer's here. School's out. You can breathe a little bit. What are the plans for the summer? You got a few months off before you head back to campus. I know you said you just moved into a new place. But, talk about what you look forward to this summer.
Yeah. So this summer is going to be a lot of working, trying to get a lot of money saved. So I'll kind of be pretty busy with that. I have a lot of family graduations coming up. So a little bit of traveling and just enjoying getting outside, getting some sunshine, and just hanging out by the beach.
Well, Sophia, we appreciate you taking some time as you get ready to enjoy the summer and talk about last week's accomplishments. And, we look forward to only a freshman this year. So we look forward to seeing a lot of you in the future here as a Royal. But we hope you have a great summer. And again, congratulations on being named All-American.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, everybody, remember today is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. And as always, till then, go Royals.